First of all, what's unique and distinctive about Unitarian Universalism? Here's how I answer a question like that. This is a religiously diverse community. We're invited to grow in spirit here, to seek the special way that truth speaks to us, and to practice that truth in our lives. Got it? This is a religiously diverse community. We're invited to grow in spirit here, to seek the special way truth speaks to us, and to live that out in our lives. There are a couple of very unique things here. First is that religiously diverse community part. Most congregations, especially in Christian and Muslim traditions, attempt to be religiously similar. If you don't believe certain things or practice in a certain way, you're out. But we like our diversity. Humanists, transcendentalists, Buddhists, pagans, questioners, liberal Christians, we think that these differences enrich our conversation, help our search, give us a variety of ways to think about truth. Like the blind man, each of whom could only touch one part of the elephant, they needed to sit down and talk about what they'd experienced to come anywhere near the reality of the whole elephant, which they couldn't see. Secondly, we're invited to seek the special way that truth speaks to us. We assume that truth comes to earth in many, many forms. That's okay with us. It assumes that we can change our ideas during our lives, and we hope you do. It assumes that we can converse without getting bogged down in right and wrong. Finally, the non-unique part of the statement, we're invited to practice our faith in our lives. Every religious community has that part of the statement, is a part of their mission, because we specialize in this open-minded diversity and freedom to believe what seems right to us. Our living out of our faith tends to be open-minded and inclusive as well. One writer commented that she had one of these little red cards. Some of you have probably seen these little red cards. She would keep it in her wallet, and then she would hand it to somebody when they asked her what the church was all about, and they would glaze over because it's a little tiny card, and it has little tiny writing, a lot of little tiny words on it. You're going to hear a few of them in a moment, but it's a kind of overwhelming way to answer the question, and I want to encourage you to come up with your own sentence or two that for you expresses what this church is all about. These little red cards are handy as a second answer to a second question, but not an answer to a first question. You can also pick up some of these little red cards. If you've never had one, you can pick one up on the welcome table on the way out. So your one sentence, this is the one I like. This is a religiously diverse community. We're invited to grow in spirit here and seek the special way that truth speaks to us and live it out in our lives. The little red cards say much the same thing, just with a lot more words. They're handy to give people, but not at first. Now, the idea of religiously diverse congregation is an oxymoron to many people, and they'll ask, but how can you worship together if you don't all believe the same thing? And that's too hard to explain. So just say, we have a lot to celebrate. Come and share with us sometime. And because this is a really new idea, they'll probably say, but what do you believe about Jesus or the Bible or God? And you say, well, the Bible has a lot of wisdom in it. So do a lot of other books. Or Jesus was a wise man. So were many other people. You get the idea. What's unique about us is that we embrace spiritual and theological diversity. We use it as a tool for congregations, for our conversations, and a way to enrich our lives. Now, as to the Universalists, here's the quick answer. The Universalist Church of America was formed in the 18th century by people who believed that God loved everybody, no exceptions. That's your bumper sticker. God loves everybody, no exceptions. Therefore, God wasn't going to toss anybody into everlasting hell. The Universalists believed, therefore, in universal salvation. That's how they got their name. They didn't believe in creeds. They thought God loved everybody, no matter what crazy things they believed, and they assumed that we should try to do the same. The Universalists were especially strong in America in the second half of the 19th century between the Civil War and World War I. The Universalists merged with the Unitarians in the 1960s. Many congregations changed their name at that time to reflect that merger. Others kept their historical names. All Unitarian and Universalist congregations, no matter what their names, are members of the Unitarian Universalist Association, the UUA.